Honourable Atashasta Nditiye, Deputy Minister of Works, Transport and Communication, Regional Commissioner John Mongella, Ambassador Arthur Matley, representative of Switzerland to the EAC, Michael Dunford, Country Director of the World Food Programme, representatives of the World Economic Forum, International Civil Aviation Organization, East African Civil Aviation Safety and Security Oversight Agency, representatives of the African Civil Aviation Authorities, and all valued speakers and participants from Tanzania and around the world. All protocols are observed. It is indeed a great honor and a pleasure to be with you in Mwanza today at this first of a kind gathering in Africa. And it is important to remember that this is the first event of its kind in Africa, so Tanzania is leading the way. I sincerely commend the Ministry of Transport, the Civil Aviation Authority, and the regional government of Mwanza for their leadership and vision in convening us here today on such an exciting and forward-looking agenda. And to the many organizing agencies and partners, I understand there are 8 government agencies involved, 5 international development partners, 2 African drone associations, and many smaller firms and academics involved. At the outset, I wish to humbly acknowledge the recent tragedy of the Okara ferry accident here in Mwanza. I think we shared the pain of the Mwanza people going through that terrible tragedy which made headlines around the world. I offer my sincerest condolences to those who have been affected. And I know it affected many people deeply in Mwanza and surrounding areas. And we offer our sincere support to the regional commissioner and the regional government as they continue to handle the fallout from that terrible tragedy. Pole sana. Coming back to the agenda, first, I'd like to say something about why the World Bank is supporting this agenda. A critical challenge in Tanzania, as well as across Africa, is how to ensure growth and to make sure that that growth is shared broadly. Cities such as Mwanza are engines for growth. By contrast, in rural areas where over 80% of poor Tanzanians live, there is slower growth and fewer opportunities and services. So the challenge, a key challenge for a government like Tanzania, is to create productive jobs that can link rural activities to the benefits of urban services and markets. We see over 1 million young people coming into the labor market every year. Young women, young men, women still disadvantaged when it comes to working opportunities. And we recognize the opportunities that new innovations and technology can begin to provide for these young people. We know that transport connectivity is key to support economic growth. Our assessments highlight the need for reviving transport on the African Great Lakes and to enhance trade across these lakes. The World Bank has been able to support the region through a Lake Victoria transport program, providing finance for port infrastructure, civil works, and access roads. But aside from the traditional sectors of transport and connectivity, which are critical, we are increasingly recognizing that the new technologies of drones, robotics, and digital fabrication hold enormous new potential. Embracing new digital technologies will be key to Tanzania's future economy, connecting rural villages and opening new markets. These technologies are changing fast, and that rate of change is itself accelerating. The changes of the past 5 years, while substantial, will be minor compared to what happens in the next 5 years. It's interesting to compare what's happening now with drone technology and robotics with what's happened with mobile phone penetration. we see that mobile phone penetration in Africa now is 80%. This is the fastest adoption of a new technology in history. Leapfrogging 20th century models such as fixed landlines. Who uses a fixed landline these days? East Africa is already a world leader in mobile innovations, where Tanzania counts 40 million mobile money accounts with 95 million transactions a month, worth $1.6 billion a month. Once citizens can access the digital economy, livelihoods can be transformed. And we've seen in the poverty data in Tanzania how much mobile money has contributed to improving livelihoods in rural areas. Across East Africa, we've seen the growth of pay-as-you-go solar power companies, which also allow citizens to access cheaper than ever before data services, lighting, radio, refrigeration, and other electrical appliances. But only 25 of these mobile money accounts are in rural areas at the moment. So that's where progress needs to be seen. Drone technologies are following the same growth and adoption patterns as mobile technologies. Today's drones are getting more capable and cheaper every year, much like the smartphones have done. In 2015, we supported the Tanzania Commission for Science and Technology to use professional survey drones, which cost $25,000 each. In 2017, it had dropped already to $9,000, and that price will continue to fall. Today, that same manufacturer is on the third generation of drone technology in 3 years, so it shows you the pace of technological change and adaptation. In 2016, the market for commercial drone sales globally was $2.8 billion. In 2017, that grew by 60% in 1 year alone. That's an impressive rate of growth, and it is faster adoption than mobile phones. Estimates suggest the global market for drone applications, that is drone services, is $127 billion, with infrastructure the largest sector, followed by agriculture and transportation. So in this new area of innovation, East Africa is in the driver's seat, and we can already see the impacts. In Rwanda, the country has led applications in agriculture mapping and blood deliveries, the first in the world to implement an operational system for these life-saving devices using drones. In Malawi, the government and UNICEF established Africa's first drone test facility, which invites companies to demonstrate their technologies for local use. In Tanzania, Zanzibar completed the world's largest drone-based land survey at over 3,000 flights that is helping to accelerate rural land registration and modernize town plans and building registration. This project delivered more detailed data for 1/10 of the cost of traditional methods. In Dar es Salaam, we experienced regular flooding, and now the drones are used to map the floodplains and rivers in advance of the rains, and also during and after the flood to map the changes that take place. The World Bank also supported the Tanzania Flying Labs in 2017, the first business incubator for drone companies in Africa. I'm pleased to see, very pleased to see, some of the local drone operators from Zanzibar and Dar es Salaam here today working with the new companies and opening new businesses. So we see the transfer of technologies to Tanzanians. And this is your industry of the future. And opportunities are becoming available, and it's so important that they continue to do so at scale. In many cases, drones are cheaper, faster, and safer. And if today we can see them delivering blood supplies or collecting medical samples, what will we see the technology do in 5 years? What are the game changers that we should foresee? We now have the ability to deliver not only life-saving medicines to rural areas and islands, but also routine packages and items such as documents, spare parts, cash, agricultural soil, and crop samples. Hospitals are already experimenting with more than just blood delivery by including medical instruments, vaccines in cold storage, spare parts for hospital equipment. But imagine how the lives of rural farmers can change if they can send crop samples for testing and receive pesticides via drone delivery or spare parts for their irrigation pumps. Imagine how farmers' lives could be transformed. Or fishermen who can access mobile money more easily and don't need to travel to town to cash out because agents can use drones to move funds to isolated areas where it's needed. Imagine how village life may change if your local fundi is now a digital blacksmith, someone who can order parts on demand without having to incur the time and the cost of traveling to town. There are cities around the world that are already testing for drones to carry passengers and as air ambulances. That may be some way off, but I believe that day will come. And I also believe that the most innovative ideas will come from Africa, where the solutions are most needed. Just like with mobile money, we can see the leapfrogging happening here first. But we must learn how to prepare for these future technologies, to attract investment and jobs in new fields. This is why the bank is supporting 16 Africa regional training institutes for skills development in priority sectors of transport, energy, agro-processing, manufacture, and ICT. The Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology, which is also the institute here in the Mwanza Innovation System, is one of those institutions, Tanzania's own institution, that will be supported in the next 6 years to focus on developing and delivering digital technology training programs and digital skills upgrading for non-ICT students and faculty. The Lake Victoria Challenge is about turning challenges into opportunities. And I want to again congratulate the Regional Commissioner for his excellent leadership in this regard. He's got a vision for using this Lake Victoria Challenge as a way of really speeding up the momentum behind these technologies, not just in Mwanza, not just in Tanzania, but across Africa. And I really congratulate him for that. I also congratulate the leadership of the government of Tanzania in coming together to recognize the importance of innovation here and being prepared to take a leadership role. New technologies can help build bridges, connecting cities like Mwanza to rural areas. They can help us drive the productivity, the innovation, and create opportunities for the young people of Tanzania that are so needed. I look forward to the lessons learned from the next 3 days. I am excited about the future ahead, and I thank you all. Asanteni sana.